While as yet the forces were dispersed from the camp, in the mean season came Gorgias by night into the camp of Judas. And when he found no man there, he sought them in the mountains. For said he, these fellows flee from us. But as soon as it was day, Judas shewed himself in the plain, with 3,000 men, who nevertheless had neither armor nor swords to their mind. And they saw the camp of the heathen, that it was strong and well harnessed, and compassed round about with horsemen, and these were expert of war. Then said Judas to the men that were with him, Fear ye not their multitude, neither be ye afraid of their assault. Remember how our fathers were delivered in the Red Sea, when Pharaoh pursued them with an army. Now therefore let us cry unto the heaven, if peradventure the Lord will have mercy upon us, and remember the covenant of our fathers, and destroy this host before our face this day. Hebrew, peradventure is often translated, from words that mean perhaps, possibly, or hopefully. The root sense uncertainty with hope, like maybe it will be so. In Genesis 18:24, Abraham pleading for Sodom, peradventure there be 50 righteous within the city. So it's not doubt in a negative sense, but a humble approach, acknowledging that the outcome is in God's hand. Us under the new covenant, Jesus Christ is our ultimate high priest and intercessor. Hebrews 7:25, therefore he is able to save to the uttermost those who come to God through him, since he always lived to make intercession for them. 1 John 2:1, my little children, these things I write to you, so that you may not sin. And if anyone sin, we have an advocate with the Father, Jesus Christ, the righteous. Just like Abraham spoke to God on behalf of Sodom, Jesus pleaded to God on our behalf. Unlike Abraham's peradventure, humble hope, Jesus' intercession is perfect and guaranteed. He always present believers blameless before the Father. Crying out to Jesus in prayer, align us with the pattern God set in Genesis, standing in the gap, asking God for mercy, protection, and provision, but now under the assurance of his completed work on the cross. So when we cry out to Jesus Christ, we are following the biblical model of intercession, while entering into the full spiritual reality of his priestly mediation. So far, Judas Maccabeus is creating, like a testimony before God. So continue reading, that so all the heathen may know that there is one who delivereth and saveth Israel. Then the strangers lifted up their eyes and saw them coming over against them. So the text says the strangers lifted up their eyes. So they are disconnected from God. They might have prayed, but they wasn't connected to God. And you'll see why next. Wherefore they went out of the camp to battle, but they that were with Judas sounded their trumpets. So right now, this is a spiritual warfare going on. Judas Maccabeus and the ones that, lifted, up their eyes, that's still in continued prayer. Right now they are crying out to God. And the ones that, became strangers and, lift up their eyes, but then they still, went their way. So they joined the battle. And the heathen, being discomfited, fled into the plain. So essentially, they was worshiping a false god. Howbeit all the hindmost of them were slain with the sword. For they pursued them unto Caesarea and unto the plains of Idumea and Azotus and Gemenia, so that there was slain of them upon 3,000 men. This done, Judas returned again with his host from pursuing them. So with all that being said, this led me to 1 Peter 2, living before the world. Beloved, I beg you, as sojourners and pilgrims, abstain from fleshly lusts, which war against the soul, having your conduct honorable among the Gentiles, that when they speak against you as evildoers, they may, by your good works, which they observe, glorify God in the day of visitation. So when I hear that, that just make me think about, today's world we live in now. So okay, an example. So now you see how, President Trump is sending the troops to different, states, cities, or whatever. So now, if we don't want that type of environment where we live, we gotta not do evil things to make, that person even think that way. It's hard to elaborate because the Bible said plainly, you do bad things gonna happen. You do good, which, they observe, it's gonna glorify God in the day of visitation. So, and it's not justifying, like police brutality and all that, because this count for them too. If you're doing evil, you're gonna meet your judgment. So I'm gonna continue. Therefore, submit yourself to every ordinance of man for the Lord's sake, whether to the king as supreme or to governors, as to those who are sent by him for the punishment of evildoers and for the praise of those who do good. For this is the will of God, that by doing good you may put to silence the ignorance of foolish men. So that's exactly what I meant by, the Bible tells us plainly. For this is the will of God, that by doing good you may put to silence the ignorance of foolish men. So if we do the will of God, doing good, we won't hear, the loudmouth Trump or, these governors, it will put to silence the ignorance of foolish men, as free, yet not using liberty as a cloak for vice, but as bondservants of God. Honor all people, love the brotherhood, fear God, and honor the king.